Oh, boy, boy, boy. Ah, shoot. There it goes. That's better. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back into Birdeater Studios. Now, today in the studio, oh, I can't have that. Mm-mm. I'm going to edit this video pretty hard. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back into Birdeater Studios. Now, if you're not familiar with my channel, I am an art channel, almost capping almost 550 art videos here on my channel. Super exciting milestones that I'm passing. Looking forward to getting monetized here soon. Now, I haven't done a whole lot of live content here in my YouTube channel. I've done a ton of it on TikTok, but not here on YouTube. And I'm looking forward to doing more and more live streams with you guys, my subscribers, here on YouTube. Now, I have been making a lot of dioramas here recently of the Goliath, Birdeater, Tarantula, and I thought it would be very cool to kind of throw in a live session along the way. I've been making a lot of them back to back to back, and I have almost upwards of 50 to 60 videos in the Goliath, Birdeater, Tarantula diorama playlist on my channel. Everything from sculpting to staining wood to creating rock textures out of clay, creating molds and casting spider legs and all sorts of fun stuff. We even used monster clay to actually sculpt the main spider before we started casting it for all of these dioramas. Now, I have a whole lot of content coming out in the near future of me sculpting other large scale projects, but today it's all about this project here. Now, I offer this diorama in three different levels: a kind of bronze, a silver, and a gold. I've already made the silver and the gold previously, and this is more so focusing on a bronze version or the smaller base. This is a smaller version than the other ones. That's why it's bronze, right? And today, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and begin pouring the epoxy feature. So what we're going to do is I've got a few organic materials laid out here. We're going to kind of showcase what they are. Then we're going to go ahead and get some epoxy out. We're going to get some dyes out, and we're going to go ahead and pour this epoxy kind of pour here. Now, it's just supposed to simulate a small, like little pond in the middle of the rock formation, which the frog will be sitting down into, cowering while this massive spider is on top of this. Now, if you've never seen any of this content before or any of these previous videos leading up to this, it'll be a very fun process. And I have never done this process in real time here for my YouTube followers, right? So it's super exciting for that. So as I sip my coffee here, I'm going to go ahead and transition you from the tripod over to my desk station here. Let's get a downward aerial view of this. We'll go over these organic materials, and then we'll start to get the actual epoxy out. It's really not a difficult process, but it's definitely something that's really fun to watch, not just in time lapse sometimes, but in real time. So let's go ahead and get you moved over here, guys, with me as I sip on some coffee. Now, guys, as you can see here, we have came a long way with this overall project. And all of the general dioramas for the Goliath Birdeater are relatively the same. Sometimes I will sculpt the rocks completely different. This project in particular, one of my goals was I wanted to make the water feature larger or wider. Sometimes I just make it a small, like little bowl shape, and it's just right there underneath the actual spider where he's like kind of straddling the entire project. Now, this one's a little bit different. My goal was to make the whole thing a lot wider. I'll go into the overall structural design of it in just a moment, and then we'll move the log also before we can begin to actually pour the epoxy work. The other challenge that I would like to have is I started making the legs magnetic. So you'll see that there's little divots right here along the whole outside rock formation. Even on the side of the log, you'll see little divots here and there. Those are designed so that the legs of the Goliath Birdeater can settle into those. And you can kind of see like from this leg to that leg, look how massive that is. And it is a massive spider by mass. It is the largest spider in the world by mass, not by leg span, but by mass. And this thing is an absolute beast. Okay, so those are my challenges. I did change things up a little bit here as far as the rock formation. Normally, what I'll do is I will build an extra piece on the back. That's a foam lift right there before the clay is sculpted over it. And I'll build that up so that the log sits at a really harsh angle. And I feel like the original design didn't have that. It was very flat, very flat across the back. And that was the silver version. It was a very rectangular item. This is a small oval version. It was just it laid flat, and but having it up at a like an upward trajectory, I just feel like it has a lot more dimension to it. There's a lot more character to it, right? Now, I've already established a little bit of the terrain on this item. Let's not lie. We're at that stage. And I've already got it prepped for us to begin the epoxy work. But real quick, let's just discuss what I've done so far. So it has a wood panel base that I've stained. Okay, now it's going to have carpet and rubber soles on the bottom of it for a professional grade to where it sits on the tabletop very soundly, very neat. It won't scratch anything. Very nice, very professional. I built up a foam core base out of XPS foam, and then we sculpted this with Sculpey. I'm sorry, this is DOS air dry clay. This is DOS air dry clay around the whole exterior of the rock formation, and I did a plaster pour on the inside of the clay formation. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole full series tutorial on this version. I am going to release just a time-lapse entertainment purpose content for this one. So you'll see that come out in the next week or so. Hopefully next week or so, maybe 2 weeks, we'll see. So we got the plaster poured, and you kind of mush it around, and it gives you really kind of fun textures. Now, one thing you'll notice here is that the log is sitting particular places on the item, and you're right. The log in itself is not what this video is about, but it does blend very well. It's supposed to look like it's just earth, and it's blended with the existing ecosystem. This log had fallen on this rock formation. It's been out there for a very long time. It's been in the same place around this ground. It's got the same moss texture across it. Now, the log has not been sealed yet, and I will seal that later. No problem. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way, and then we'll discuss the rest of the diorama. It just lifts right off, and that will be shipped separately in the box. Take a sip of coffee there. Alrighty, so it's not oil. It is coffee. So we have a few items on the actual rock formation itself. I did paint this in a nice raw sienna, a golden brown, and it is absolutely fabulous. Now, I did apply a little bit of fine flocking as well as a little bit of thicker flocking here. I may come in later and introduce a little bit more, but I've also put a few like different things. I put like a little gum tree seed there, a little acorns, a little bit of debris here. And you'll notice that if you look across the actual item here, we'll zoom you in. The rock formation has a taper, okay? So my goal here is that this rock formation is just a lot wider. So we're going to get a lot more epoxy surface around here. And when we pour that epoxy in here, it's going to come up to the edge of this rock formation in the middle. And it's going to give this like a little bit of an island-like feel. And all this will be in shadow. I did also sculpt over here, a little bit of a hill. And I anticipated that to be a little bit lower than I actually thought. I didn't make it deep enough. I wanted the epoxy to pour back into this corner. I don't believe it is because this right here is too low. So obviously it's going to level pour to here, and then that's going to be exposed. That's fine. I might put some greenery right here after the fact. On the back side of the diorama, we have this here. Now, as you can see, I did put a little divot here. Now, this little divot, I've already clear coated the entire thing with a light layer of Mod Podge on the exterior. And this right here is designed so that I want that liquid to drool over the side and settle here. And I want that to be a separate little micro puddle right there. So that way, although I didn't put a lot of vegetation on the back of the log, this is the back of the diorama. This will be against a wall or behind something, right? This would have a little bit of something back there. But this is the back of the diorama. So if it doesn't flow over there naturally, I'll just use a little like a little popsicle stick, and I'll push that over to the edge, right? Now, let's go ahead and quickly discuss what we're going to add to this. Okay. All right. So I do have a few different types of organic materials here. Okay. Now, we're not necessarily going to use all of them, but we will use what we need to use, right? So first off, I do have a little bit of dyed flocking. Okay, it's very fine flocking, and it's very cakey right now because it's still very wet. I may use that in particular areas depending on how I feel. But it being wet, I might hold off on that at least a little bit. But I did dye it. It was very vibrant, like neon green color. Ugh. So we're gonna kind of switch that up a little bit. We also have a little stick here. I also have this with some natural moss textures on it. It's all very dried. I've had it for a very long time, so it doesn't have any kind of pests or anything in it. I thought it had a very good texture, so we may sink that down into the diorama. I'm gonna set all this stuff off to the side here. I do have a little medicine cup of leaves. Now most of these have been crushed, and we'll use those on top of the epoxy pour to make it look like it's more realistic. Another twig there. It's got a little bit of like a mossy texture on it. This is the big piece right here, and I don't know if I'm going to include it quite yet. Now it's a piece of dried out timber here. Now this has been baked so that it is purified of all in like pests and things like that. But it does have a really cool effect here. Now I do know that the epoxy would really settle into all these nooks and crannies very well. So we'll see. I don't want it to be too much inside the water feature to where it kind of just diminishes the overall water effect. But we'll see. This is probably going to be included. I do have a few more of these little gumball trees. What are they called? Gumball tree seeds or whatever. Anyways, I got a few of those in case I want to put one in there. Of course, we actually have the frog himself. Of course, he's going to be sitting down in some mud and some dirt, so the bottom of him doesn't need to be painted, but the top is. And I still have yet to kind of finish out his eyes and things. I'll do that once he's set into position, and then I'll give him a UV resin layer before it's all finished. A few little twigs here. This has got a little bit of texture to it. It's a very jagged twig. I don't even know what it is, honestly. Some dried leaves. May put some of those in. A little bit of pine needle. Pine needles are really cool in the water features. It makes them look very realistic. another twig here. I don't know if I'm gonna use these because this is already a lot of stuff. Some bark debris. We may end up putting that in the bottom of the water feature. I got some little acorns, and the reason I have these really is because there's acorns around the exterior of the rock formation already. And I've harvested these when I'm out and about. So when I'm out and about and around trees and stuff, sometimes I'll pick up a little plastic baggie and I'll just save these for future usages. So we may use a few of those. And I do also have a little bit of thicker greenery. We may use a little bit of that, sprinkle some on top of it. And then here's another thing. I also have a little bit of snake skin here. Now the snake skin inside the rotten log will be a snake skin. I usually include either a snake skin or a wasp's nest. And that is a real harvested snake skin. So it's dried out. It's been dried out for a very long time. But of course, it's going to be sunken into the water feature, just to give a little bit of dimension there. It's just going to look really cool. All right, guys. So let's zoom it back out here, and let's bring the beast back up here. Now, if you stay tuned to the end of the video, I will show you what the spider does look like on top of it, as long as there's no epoxy where that log is sitting. Okay. Okay. So remember that this is the front of the diorama, that is the back. We'll be rotating it throughout the demonstration here, or the creation, whatever you want to call it, tutorial, and then we'll go forward with everything. So let's go ahead and get some things into position. Now, because we're putting stuff inside the water feature, we don't really have to worry about like setting it and gluing it, right? Now, one thing you'll notice is this is extremely shiny, right? Very, very shiny. And it's because this is a thick layer of Mod Podge all the way around. It actually had a little bit of caking right there. It's no big deal, but it is dried for a full 24 hours, and it's going to keep any kind of liquid or epoxy from draining down into our rock formation if there happened to be a crack in that formation anywhere here. Don't want to risk it. So you go ahead and clear coat this in something thick enough to where it won't bleed down, okay? So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and just place some of these things. Same things we talked about before. I'm going to put the snake skin on here. I don't know if that's where I'm going to put it yet. We are also going to, so the frog is going to be right there. Okay, he's going to be in the very front of the diorama because you want to be able to see him when you're like across a room, but he's supposed to blend into where like if somebody were sitting in your living room and they didn't know there was a frog there, and they just like you left him in the room and then it caught their eye, they'd be like, oh, there's a frog there under this huge friggin' spider, right? So we'll put a little acorn back here, just like that, and then we're gonna put the leaf up there. We're gonna roll that leaf onto the surface of the water. We're gonna put, you gotta like have that perfect blending medium, like you gotta know when not to put something somewhere. We'll, we'll put a few of these leaves in the bottom of it, but not many. Not too many. So the goal is that when you're looking through the epoxy layers, that you would see through to these. See, I don't want anything truly like sticking up over there too much. But if I do, I kind of want the leaf texture of it to be like I kind of want the dimension of the leaf to be fake, like upward. Let me get a little bit of dirt, you guys. Let me get a little bit of dirt. See, even though that we base coated that with like a base coat color, like this is darker because it's gonna be darker pour, and this is gonna be like a lighter color pour, so you see the depth of the layers through the water. That's why I try to do 2 pours, and then let them blend a little bit. But it's good to see a little bit of this textured like dirt underneath that, even if like some of this gets moved around a little bit. I think that's about good. That's good. So I even put some dirt on top of that little island right there, but I don't think it's gonna stay there, honestly. All right, so there's that. I got like a few branches here. Let's go ahead and put that right there. I think that's a good place for it because that'll be in the shadow of the tree. I don't like that. See how it's a hard line cut right there where I use scissors? Don't want that. I don't want that harsh line sticking up out of the epoxy. Okay. That just is not cooperating at all. There it goes. Okay. Um, that's the belly skin of it. That's the belly skin. I'm not gonna put that in there. That's weird. Here's that large log or piece of dried out wood that I was gonna put on it. So I don't know, man. Maybe it's supposed to go like right there, just like that, and that's supposed to settle into that little groove right there. I kind of like it though, because the other branch for the log is right here. We'll do a test fit in a minute, and then like I have all this stuff here, and it's like, well, I could have that kind of sticking up out of the water, but I have a natural part right there. How about this? We'll put the acorn in there because like there's already acorns here, so who would say there wouldn't be acorns right there as well, right? And then we'll put this in here. We'll tear part of it. Oh shoot, part of it, I mean all of it. No, I don't like it, dude. Don't like it, man. I'll think about that. I'll think about that. I think we're good there. No, no. Now that gumball seed right there, gumball tree seed is already in there. I feel like I'm calling out the wrong thing. But look at the knots. Those are what you want to see. Those are really cool looking. All right, so there we go. Now, as you pour epoxy, logically it would settle in all these nooks and crannies, and it would fill in all those voids around all of this debris, and then it would fill out, right? Okay, so there is that. I don't think I'm going to include any more of these because it's going to get too cluttered, and I want the water to be able to be seen. Let me go ahead and show you what it would look like with the log on it before the spider. And like I said, it locks into place right here. I got it designed so those leaves are in the way. Put a log right there, or a piece of rock, so I know exactly where to put it every time. Right there. Okay, so that's what it will look like with the log on it. And then the spider will be cascading down over this. So like even right here, there will be a spider leg right where he is, like it's like, man, don't move, don't breathe, or you're done, dude. You know? Okay. Now, reposition you there. There we go. All righty. So let me go ahead and move the log again. We don't need the log to do the water or the water pour. Okay. Now let's get some epoxy on. Now this is the fun part here. Now just be aware that I'm going to use epoxy. I'm using gloves. I don't have a respirator on. I'm just going to pour this bad boy, and then the live stream is going to be over, guys. And then I'm going to close this room off, and it will be set alone, and it's going to cure overnight. Okay. So this is the last thing I got to do tonight here. So we'll set that off to the side for now. Let's put it over there. It looks more fancy. I'm gonna get a little sip of that good old coffee. All right, so the epoxy that we're using is actually Flynn's sister epoxy. Now, her epoxy is the absolute bomb diggity bomb, guys. Now, I usually make a lot of tumblers, okay? As you can see in the background, like I make a lot of tumblers, okay? So, well, shit, I'll just show you. Right? Okay. I make a few. And originally, hold on. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Now, originally, when I was using epoxy, I was using just aftermarket brands. I was using like just Michaels and um I was using so original. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Well, this thing's being stubborn. All right. So originally, when I started my art journey, I began getting back into art by working with tumblers, and I make a ton of tumblers, right? And I'll do that edit right there. And they're covered with a clear coat of epoxy. Okay. Now you can spend hundreds of dollars on epoxy to do a water feature pour. You can spend like if you do a big pour, yeah, okay, spend hundreds of dollars to get some epoxy, or you can just use my friggin' code, guys, and go to Flynn's Sister Supply Shop, and you can get a good like gallon for like crazy cheap, guys. And it's really crystal clear. It's great quality, and it's really easy to work with. It doesn't have really bad after smells or anything like that. So like I guarantee you're not going to find much better out there. It's absolutely awesome. Yeah, I'm affiliated with them, and they're absolutely awesome. And you can use the code in the description and get like some monies off. Okay, do that. You can go do that. But it is absolutely awesome. Even if I wasn't affiliated with them, I would still use this epoxy because it's absolutely great. So what we're going to do here is we're pouring a lot, right? Because we need to fill this in. So it's a lot more than I usually pour. Usually I just use like a little 30-ounce medicine cup. But today we're going to use some medicine cups of this. Now I like these medicine cups because they show you little rib lines, so you can just take it up however you want because it's mixed one part, right? 50-50. So you need to just pour it however much you want. We're going to do multiple layer pours. So what we'll do is we'll just use one for A, one for B, and then we'll have one that we mix in, and then we'll keep switching out the mixing cup so that way it's not just stagnated mixed epoxy, okay? So let's go ahead and bring you down. Sorry for my dirty space here. I actually do craft in my space, so it tends to get dirty. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and pour out some epoxy. And what we're going to do is we're going to tone it with Tim Holtz alcohol inks. Now you can use a lot of things to tone your epoxy, but you just wanted to make sure it's like not super opaque. You want to be kind of transparent in some ways. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pour out 50 by 50 of each one of these. And we're going to go ahead and pour it to the line. And bring it down closer so you can actually see it go into the cup. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be cool? And then we're going to pour the second round. Now the first layer that we do is going to be a little bit darker, okay? It's a lot thicker. That is the A side, and it's always much, much thicker. We're only going to go to the first line, remember? Now, because I'm mixing so much, it doesn't have to be absolutely dead on, like one part, right? Because it's going to mix a little bit as I add more layers. Also, the reason I do multiple layers is because I'm going to give it time for those bubbles to naturally rise to the surface. Um, and and when I do that, then it's just one less thing I have to worry about. I don't mind some bubbles. Like I don't mind some bubbles, but too many bubbles just don't look good. Okay, so we got our B and our A, and we're gonna mix them into this one cup. Okay, see how that one moves so fast, much faster, so much faster. Ugh, it's dripping so slow. You can also pour this by weight if you'd like to, but sometimes I just like to just pour it by quantity. Um, it just depends on the circumstance. If you do by weight, obviously you gotta get your scale out, which I did not do for this situation, but I could, and it means you only need to throw away 1 cup. But for today's demonstration, I'm gonna use 3 cups. All right, I'm gonna leave that popsicle stick in there. All right, so that is the thick side. So usually the more pots you mix, the more forgiving it is as far as the quantity. Usually, at least in my experience. If you're too far off, then yeah, it'll just be all busted up. I mean, I've had bad epoxy pours before too, before I got pretty good. Am I good though? Am I pretty good? I don't know. Probably not. All right, so there's our layers right there. Now we're going to mix this a little bit before we actually add the color, okay? That's also why I just pour a little bit at a time too, is because I don't want to get a big old popsicle stick out or some big old stick to stir this stuff up. A little wooden pop just does just good enough. We'll see how far along this color gets us. Shit, might fill it up pretty good. We'll see. Let's just start off by walking and then we'll run. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some color now. I've got 2 colors out, 2 of my favorite colors. I have a moss and I have a latte. Okay, now we're gonna add these to taste, however you want to, and you can add all sorts of colors in there, right? But well, you can just go till you're happy with it. There's a lot of epoxy, so we're gonna add about 4 to 5 drops, and then we're gonna mix it up. Set that off to the side. It's going to start to tint it. Look at that. Okay. All right, I'm going to pour a little bit of that into a separate cup. Just a little bit. I'm going to create a really dark batch. Really dark batch. Okay, I'll come back to that in a minute. All right, next we're going to add a little bit of moss, which is a greenish gray. I'm dripping everywhere. That's why I use a silicone mat. I like it. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and set off some of this off to the side now. And then we'll bring the actual item over to pour. Now the goal is not to make it super transparent, but the goal with the first layer is just to give it a little bit of darkness, a little bit of depth, to make it simulate the puddles deeper than it is. All right, there we go. I like that. Nice and dark and green. Okay. We'll put a new glove on here. All right, let's watch out, Mr. Bob Ross. All right, come on over here, bad boy. There we go. All right, guys. Who's ready for a little bit of epoxy pour? All righty. Now, a few things I have here is I do have my heat gun nearby. I do have my heat gun nearby, and I also have my torch. So there's my torch. You can see it. Who's ready? All right, we're going to slowly pour it, okay? Let me zoom you in even more, okay? You don't want to see the cup. You want to see the epoxy roll out onto the item. Honestly, could have probably gone a little bit darker with that, but I'm completely okay with that for now. Looking good. Looking good. Let's let all that drain out there. I'm just going to prop that up there and let it drain. All right. Seeing that, I'm pretty much okay with the color. All right. See, that's still dripping right there. Waste not, right? Let's give you a different angle. I'm going to go ahead and cascade this down these sides over here. Looking good. I like how green that is. All right, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to let that drain out just like that. Oh, and I don't want to drop it. Good gracious. Good. All right, so we're only about halfway there, guys. So this next batch maybe a little bit larger. But before we do that, I need to go ahead and get rid of some of these bubbles, okay? Now, one of the easiest way is to go ahead and use a heat gun. And we're going to let that warm up for just a little while while we make the next layer, okay? So we'll set it off to the side again. Now this should be the last pour, okay? Let's say you want to learn how to do it by weight. Let's do it by weight this time. Let me plug up my scale here. I'm going to go to 2.5. 2.6, great. Whatever. That's the only downside of going live, guys, is I can't time lapse this. It is real time. But then again, sometimes projects take this long, so to actually really do it instead of just time lapsing it for entertainment purposes, you know, this is how long it takes to make things. Some people say, well, why does it cost so much to have a diorama made? Well, now you know. True custom art, amazing art, takes time. Takes time. All right. So there's that. See? By the way, it's not so bad, eh? I said A. I'm not Canadian. I'm not said A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got a little bit of darkness to it, but not a whole lot. Not as much as we did before. Because you want to make it look like the top part of the water is a little bit clearer. By the way, it is a lot easier, guys. I'll be honest. But I just truly just like to show always, because like somebody just starting out might not have a scale, and you shouldn't be held back by stuff like that. Just get some clay, order some epoxy, and just have fun, man. Just enjoy your journey and just have fun creating. Let's add a little bit more latte. Let's add a little bit of green, more brown to that, and then I think it's good. Yeah, that's good. It's not as dark as the last batch, but it's pretty good. Okay, bring you back up here. Bring this back in now. As you can see, during the time that we were working on it, it actually has more bubbles that have risen to the surface, right? And I just truly want you to understand that because of the time that it took for it to do that, it gives us more time to work, okay? Right? Okay. So what we'll do is you can use a heat gun again. I'm gonna use a torch this time. It gets a little bit hot, and it really just bursts those bubbles. Let me see if I can get you a zoomed in view of that there. It's gonna be tough though. See that bubble right there? Look at it. Look at it. You see that bubble right there? What bubble? I'm kidding. But all seriousness, though, the torch is a big help, and I used the heat gun for a long time, and then it just wasn't cutting it. Let's bring you in a little bit here. All right, let's zoom you in here, and let's do the next pour here. Okay. Now, same thing as before. Throughout the process, as more of these bubbles rise to the surface, I will continuously come back every so often and pop them. But just be aware that I don't want to heat it up to where it damages the epoxy and it won't cure. Like a lot of epoxies naturally will get hot when they cure, but I don't want to apply so much heat to it that it scalds it or burns it, which has happened in the past when I just keep working with something. Um, Now, not all epoxies are the same, and I've never really pushed Flynn Sisters epoxy to that level, so I don't really need to because I've been beyond that for now. So, all right, ready for the next pour? Say go. Okay. I'm gonna try to make this to where it pours from the sides, and I want it to wet those sides. Okay, I want to make them nice and watery looking. It's gonna look like a muddy puddle. Now I may have to block that off back there because it may lose a lot more than I had anticipated because it is lower grade. Now we are on a silicone mat, so I don't have to worry about that. Add some coating right there. I don't want to do that. I don't want to coat that because if I coat that, then that means that the water level has to come up to there because that would be wet, right? Because see how wet that is? it's not wet here. If I pour it up there, then that epoxy will not come off that. You see that little middle rock formation is still visible. Now, my goal is not to cover all of those vegetational things that I put in there, all the organics. I do want to give them a nice clear coat so it protects them. I do think I'm going to cover that whole rock formation to get some layers on it, just to protect it, make it look wet. It's about there. Okay, let me rotate it around to the side and I'll show you. All right, we're going to rotate. This is the back side, remember? So you can see here it's starting to roll over just a little bit. Let me bring the light over a little bit more. There we go. So it's starting to roll over just a little bit here. And it's wanting to roll over right there, okay? Now, I did not design that to roll over to the back side. I don't want it to because I don't want that on my wood. The wood needs to be separate finish, and that's the reason we put it on there, because it makes it look super professional when it's done. So I don't mind taking it. See, it's naturally pulling over, naturally. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour it up till it's right at the top of this. It's rolling over, see? Now, because that liquid is already there, it's going to find its easiest path to lower center right, the lowest point. All right, we're almost out of epoxy, as you can see. So we're just using the dregs of what I have left. I'll pull you up a little bit there. Of course, I'll edit that out. Really, I hope you guys are enjoying the stream. As I stated before, I haven't gone live very much on YouTube. I've gone live quite a bit on TikTok sometimes. But I'm looking to grow here on YouTube. So I'm at the point now where I need to get into YouTube a little bit better and just be better about going live with you guys. If you haven't subscribed now, please do. I really appreciate you. And hopefully you've enjoyed this up to now. I'm just going to put a little bit of excess right there, just in case it doesn't make it all the way down there. And I'll have to big brother that for the next 30-40 minutes to make sure it doesn't pull right there. All right, so epoxy is pretty much gone. See, I mean, I could keep pulling little dregs out of it, but there's no point in all that. So let's go ahead and hit it with the torch. I'm sorry, torch, because I don't want to push the items too far. Now, remember I said earlier that a few bubbles is completely fine. It makes it look like there's been stuff moving around in it. Don't overthink it. All right, you see this? Okay, watch. When I rotate it this way, it shifts that way. It's following that way. When I shift it this way, because I think the stand is uneven, it's shifting that way, okay? Now, if you'll notice, I'm going to zoom you in just a minute and you'll see, is because we did different pours of different grades of color, the deeper portions of that puddle look deeper, okay? And I'll show you again in a minute. It looks deeper. Oh, there she goes, right over the side. Okay, see, I'm going to keep an eye on that now because that's going to want to pour over to the side. Once it's done it once, it wants to do it over and over again. Now, what can I do to fix that? I can tilt this up slightly, ever so slightly. So what I'll do is I'll grab me 2 or 3 popsicle sticks, just like that, and I'll put them underneath the board. Nope, too many. Just 2. How about just 2? Just 1. Just 1. I'm just going to watch it for a little bit. I can also put something here. I can put something there to keep that from dripping down onto that. How about that? A little band-aid. It'll work. Maybe. Very good. Okay, you guys. So it's absolutely great. We rotate around and I'm going to zoom you back up. And then here in a minute, I'll zoom you in so you can see the color variation. Oh, I can't do that. It's going to be this way for now. All right, we're going to leave the rest of the bubbles. They will be there. All right, let me go take my gloves off. I'm not touching the epoxy anymore. Hopefully that'll stop dripping. Now, what I have earlier is I had some little debris. So, I'm going to mush it up. We're going to mush it up right there. I don't want any big flakes. I'm just putting a little bit of just small stuff on there. Nothing big. Nothing big. Nothing too big. Because if we get put too much in there, it just gets yuck. I think that's good. Put a little bit of debris back here because this would be just an afterthought. Okay. I think we're good there. See, that snake skin actually moved from here all the way to over there. Pretty good. All right, let me go ahead and get the glove. Wipe that epoxy off again. Maybe I should have made that little extra pull out of UV resin. Lordy. Lordy, I think I am. Oof. If it pours over the side again, I'm going to have to put UV resin there and just cure it and it'll stop it. It's like a band-aid way of doing it, but I'll do it. I don't care. Of course, that would have to happen while I'm on live, right? Bring you down where you can actually see that. All right, if it rolls over the edge again, I'm going to UV resin it. I can always pull the UV resin up if I need to. If I tilt it too much, it'll flow right off the front of it. And then I can't turn it. I don't know why it's doing that. good right there. It's not shifting. Okay. So I don't think it is. Okay, because I did not get epoxy here and here, I'll be able to show you in a moment what it looked like with a log on it and the spider. Cool? Okay, so hang tight for just a second, guys. Hmm. Well, I was looking for another piece of vegetation, and lo and behold, there it is. Now, this vegetation is a little bit different. I actually bought this at Michael's, and it's okay. But it's very, very green. Very, very green. And I think it looks cool. I'll stain it later with the wash. But since I've already got epoxy there, why not take advantage of that, right? Why not take advantage of it? Lordy. I'll have to do something different. All right, let's see. All right, guys, so you're going to see some bonus material because I have to fix that because it's going to drip all over the blame in place if I don't fix it. Because it's too far below grade, and it's going to blame and bug me all daggone night because it's going to be a slow setup. It's not fast set. So to fix it, I'm going to do something different. All right. Not really what I anticipated doing. That might not work. I don't know. Yeah, it's recurring. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. It's hard to see it. Hold on a second. I saw your comment. Let me give me just a second. It's not popping up on my other device. Hold on a second. Let's see. Why didn't it pop up? Hold on a second. Is this a large burl? Burl. I don't know what you mean. You mean burrow? That's not working out how I want it to. I know it will. I'm just gonna give it a few minutes. I do not like that. I'm gonna have to fix that, guys. I'm gonna have to cut this away right here, and I'll repaint that. That will bug me to no end. I'm sorry. I cannot send out artwork like that. The wood? Oh, I don't know. Large knots called burls. Hmm. I never heard them referred to as that. No, this. I mean, this right. You mean right this right here on the very front of it, or the log that I created? So I created a log that's gonna. I'll put back on it in just a minute. Let me get this last layer here so that I can stop worrying about this. Model Misfit. I like that name, by the way. That's pretty cool. Model Misfit. No, no, no. All this is now. I'll zoom you out in a minute. You can see, but if you're just tuning in just now, but everything is hand sculpted and painted except for just the acorns and um, little twigs and leaves and stuff. Now the last one that I made even the leaves and everything else. Everything was from hand scratch because it was international ship. But this one is an American ship, so I can use more organic material on just the water feature. But no, everything's hand sculpted and handmade. Yeah, no, this is. I think I stopped it. I think I stopped the reservoir. No, it's still moving. How's it still moving? That's some of the witches. Things just don't go according to plan, do they? I'm just gonna have to fix it later, probably. If I can just get it to stop dripping, then I'll fix it later. I did not expect to do this on live stream. Well, maybe when it's all said and done, it'll look like a really cool trip. This one was sculpted. So I'll pull the log out in a minute and show you the log. But that's supposed to be the live stream is I show you the log and then I'll put the actual spider on it too and let you get a simulation of how big the spider is compared to the size of this one. But yeah. So this is DOS air dry clay on this one, and then the log is Sculpey original with an oval overlay of DOS air dry clay. Yeah, I don't use much epoxy clay. I love DOS and Sculpeys, and I do a lot of baking. So most of my stuff is baked clay and air dry clay on my channel. I'm not saying I won't get into epoxy clay here soon, just to do some videos on it for my YouTube, but I haven't done that yet. So I think it's slowing down. I'm gonna let it go. Okay. Give me a quick minute to wash my hands, guys. I'll be right back. And then I'll zoom you out. Well, I'll zoom you out now, but I'll be right back. I just realized I was on mute. So this I was using parchment paper earlier, and well, the problem is this is two-part epoxy that's leaking under here, so it's gonna weld the that to the wood here. And I'd rather it not pull up that stain right here because the stain will be harder to fix than the actual clay formation. So I'll probably cut away that clay right there. I can mend that, and then maybe I can peel up that layer right there. If not, then I'll refinish this with a spray paint layer around the whole bottom of the base, and it will make this rock right here look extremely wet. And because the spider's a rainforest spider anyways, it'll look realistic. So we'll come back to that in a minute. Yeah, no sound, man. I boogered it up. Can you hear me now? Old Verizon commercials. Can you hear me now? Now, I have made this in two larger sizes before, and those are also available on my YouTube channel under the Goliath Birdeater Tarantulas playlist, and there's like 60 videos in there. All right. For some reason, maybe my desk is not level, perhaps. Give me just a moment, guys. It's shifting when I rotate to the rear side, and I don't want it to be stuck like this because that's gonna piss me off all night long. It's still settling towards the back. I'll keep an eye on it for a minute. It's shifting that way. I appreciate you, buddy. I appreciate you, man. All right, let's see. So he's getting welded into place. Usually I'll glue him beforehand. This time I did not. And I'm almost regretting it because he's settling down. But I'm gonna let it roll. As long as he has a decent stance. He's supposed to be cowering. Now, I didn't know that before. I didn't know before I started working with these types of dioramas that the Goliath Birdeater tarantula doesn't eat birds very much because they're actually dangerous, and the spiders know that if they go after them, they can get hurt. All right, so here's the log. It goes in just so, it locks into place. And she's shifting bad. All right. All right, so there's the log, okay? I'm gonna pull a light here. I had to pull the halo light up so high because it's such a big project. The other one was over 1.5 feet tall, and it weighed 25 pounds. All right, so here we are. This is what it looks like so far. And it's not shifting anymore. And as I stated earlier, I don't mind a few bubbles here and there, as long as they're not just out of control. A few bubbles make it look realistic. All right, let me show you what the spider will look like. Who wants to look at the spider? Who's ready? Who wants to see? Okay. I gotta extend that as high as it will go. Okay. I have some epoxy for a 3D printed large statue, but so you have a resin 3D printer? Dude, I got one for Christmas from my mother-in-law, like legit, like 2 years ago. I don't have a desktop computer, and it's been sitting on a desk ever since. Like I just haven't got around to breaking that thing out. But I know that once I do, like it's gonna be on. Let me find the spider legs. Where are they at? All right, I found the body. There they are. I mean, my studio isn't even that big, and I'm like, well, where's my spider legs? Dude, I can't wait to get in 3D printing at some point. But I'm really getting in. I'm really enjoying casting right now. All right, so this is the Goliath Birdeater Tarantula, right? She's a beast. Like I can't almost zoom out far enough. Yeah, I won't even zoom out that far. YouTube is failing me. All right. So all of the legs specifically have their own leg holes. Well, gotta line it up. Something's off. She's not in the right place. I'll have to fix it in a minute. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, she's not in the right place for some reason. I'll tinker with it in a minute. Oh. Give me just a minute. She's in the wrong place. Can't tell if it's the log. I think it's the log. I haven't put the magnets in the main spider body yet. All the legs are magnetic. That's about it, I think. It's close. I'll just tinker with it. Put those last magnets in there. No, she's still off. Shit. One. 2. Let's wipe that one off. 3. That's about right. Hold on 1 second. It's almost there. That one fell into. I gotta finish painting the spider though. It's weird. YouTube just crashed on me. I won't be able to keep it there, just because it's got epoxy on it. Dang it! I dropped it again. So, I'll have to wipe that off. I'll probably just start streaming on a computer at some point. Zoom up. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, I can't wait to get in 3D printing, man. Spider is just not seating properly. I don't think it's a log. I have to do some work to it. I think that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it was. There's a rock right here, and I didn't push it far enough forward. See, every time I sell one of these, I give them a demonstrational video on how to set it up. That's it. That's setting properly now. Some cleanup work to do. Quite a bit of cleanup work. All right. So there it is. There's a piece of debris on that frog's eye. Can't have that. So that's kind of what it'll look like right there. I got some tinkering to do with the legs and the placement. And usually there's 2 magnet holes on the bottom of the body where it will magnetize to the actual log itself. So you'll place the log, and then the magnets will put the spider in the perfect place, and all you have to do is line up your log to the rock right there. And then you're golden. And then you just go position your legs however you want to. If you ever need to store it away, you just remove your legs and put them in a bag and just store it away. But each leg has its own. Oop, oop. Let's see how to work on that one. Nah, they're right. Yeah, something's off. To figure out that back leg. But yeah, so there that is. So now that the actual log is poured, like the water feature is poured, the log is ready. I'm gonna clear coat this so it'll look wet. Then I can start painting the body of the spider and finish setting the legs with the magnets to the perfect position, and then it's ready to ship. So that's the only downside with this type of thing is you have to build each segment at at the right order, or it just can't come together right because everything is magnetically attached. Whereas before, I was creating the spider all in one piece, specifically for the formation that I had, and the logs were attached to the rock, and things got broken in shipment because it was just such a hard thing to ship, even wrapped in like tons of foam and stuff, and it was just like things would get damaged so easily. I like this version though because I've cascaded the legs down onto the actual wood base, and it makes it look like even though you purchased a log and a rock, it it makes it look like the spider's real because it's partially on the rock base and the wood, right? It looks like it's off of it. It's like it's crawling off of the formation towards you. Pretty baller, right? I like this one, man. It's the first big sculpture that somebody actually commissioned for me, and I've just been creating so many of them since. I got a long list of them on Etsy that I've opened up to pre-order that if people order them, then I can start prioritizing big sculptures. Like for instance, I want to make a fire phoenix, like Fox the Phoenix. Yeah, not I didn't say Harry Potter, but a phoenix, and I'm gonna make it like 3 feet tall. Whew. I still gotta do some cleanup work on that one. Do you create videos and content, Model Misfit? Because if you do, I'll subscribe. It may have bounced out. Rewatch. Bro, this is like the second time I've gone live on YouTube. So like 2 people in here. Appreciate you, man. Heck yeah! All right, I'll check. You create videos? I'll check you out. Have you ever noticed the dioramas when you're doing stuff like this? Like stuff gets everywhere. Like it gets everywhere. Like I clean my station and like 5 minutes later it's like blown up. I'm gonna do like this is the first video that I've done live, and I'm gonna super edit it down like all the dumb stuff I say into something like micro. So I got like tons of editing to do in like YouTube Studio, which YouTube Studio is not easy to work with at all. Right? Chaos Master. I've been too many mediums, man. I make too many different. That's my wife. I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. So I can answer a phone call. All right, let me finish up. I'm gonna hop off, guys. I gotta answer a call. She's heading from another city. All right, guys. So that's it. This is us pouring the water feature for the. Do you ever talk to the camera and just hate it? All right, guys. So that's us in real time on live pouring this awesome 2-part epoxy Flynn's Sister water feature. Now, this thing is absolutely awesome. I got a little bit more to do to it, painting the spider with an airbrush, things like that. And I will make a video on that as well for my YouTube channel. Otherwise, guys, make sure you like and subscribe and check out some of the awesome videos that I have on my channel. Not only do I have about 60 videos in the Goliath Birdeater Tarantula playlist, but I have all sorts of videos, up to almost 600 videos for you to enjoy. I will catch you guys on the next awesome video. Appreciate you guys. I'll catch you later, man.